Hey, Chris Liepe here with the studio multitracks, or stems, for Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana. I've done an isolated vocal analysis on this song due to popular request, but I feel like there's a lot more to talk about in terms of production and approach, not only on Kurt's vocals, but on this recording as a whole. Not only is this song a complete masterpiece, but the way the parts fit together is absolutely incredible. The way the vocal production in particular sits upon the band. And you can't really talk about that when you've just got the isolated vocals. Well, now we can talk about it because I have all the different tracks. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on here. If you want more about Kurt's singing approach in particular, go view that other video, the isolated vocal analysis. Here we're taking a more holistic approach. We're going to enjoy this. If you'd like more help with your singing, taking the approach that Kurt Cobain takes, adding distortion, creating angst, and emoting truly with your voice, click the link below and join my free voice course, and I'll give you the tools to start doing that with your own voice. So let's start by stacking these masterfully built sounds, starting with the kick. You see how consistently played this is? Now, yeah, there's some compression and limiting going on, but a lot of that is just Dave Grohl's very, very consistent, hard-hitting playing. He's one of the best. And it really, really comes out when you look at the consistency of this kick track. I've looked at a lot of kick tracks, and they're not that consistent. And this was all recorded to tape, so there's not a lot of doctoring going on. Love that you can hear the bleed, hear the bass in the background. This is a band tracking in the studio, not pieced together. Oh, listen to that reverb on the snare. That cool ring. Dun, dun, dun. It's actually tuned to the root, to the one of the song. It's there. That's why it blends so well, and that's why that ring is so awesome. You hear it? You hear it the whole time. It's so cool. Bass. As one of my wonderful YouTube commenters mentioned, there's nothing precise about Christ's playing. But that's what makes it so awesome. It's not precise, but it is definitely in the pocket. You really get a sense for that as they build into the chorus. Do you hear how he is behind the beat? This would sound very horrible if he was doing what a lot of beginner bass players do and push the beat. The kick should lead the bass. Here's the kick track. Notice how the primary hits are always behind. See this? There's the peak here. Here's the peak. It's behind in time, just by a little bit. That is a huge part of what makes this band groove the way they groove. Because you've got Dave who's pushing that beat in a very healthy, confident way. And then you've got the bass that's laying behind. And you've got Kurt right in the middle with his guitar playing. I'm just going to take this little spot here and I'm going to bring slightly ahead of the beat, which you'll recognize this. This is amateur bass instead of groovy bass. If you've ever done any band recording, you've heard that happen with a bass player that doesn't quite get what it means to play in the pocket. It doesn't sound bad, but it feels icky. One amazing guitar line here. Now that extra fizzy sound, I believe, is a combination between mic'd amps and direct through a distortion pedal like a DS1. And the direct sound is blended with the other sound from the amp. And that's why you get that both the articulation and the out-of-control fizziness blended in to taste. Listen to how the vocals, we'll do more vocals in a minute. Listen to how Kurt's voice gets more and more. He builds it over a very static guitar part. So he's got almost this pad going on with his guitar playing, and then he keeps putting more and more girth and grit and intensity into this revolving line. That's what's so genius about this arrangement, is there's nothing that complicated about it, but the way that things subtly shrink and grow. I mean, this is just very repetitive. You can sense the growth even without the bass and drums, even without Dave's drums bringing in that dynamics. The way that the vocals crescendo is all of it. So interesting to think about with your own arranging. If we are so focused on precision and nailing the take or whatever, that we don't think about raw dynamics and arcs, like how are we going to build into this next section? How are we going to make things simple enough that we can communicate with what we're playing and singing? It's not about complexity. It's not about accuracy or goodness. It's about communication. We've got this going on. And this. I have to confess, I didn't really process that there was that kind of layering going on until I listened just now. It's not just that. Nuts! Listen how dissonant that is. Does that fit? Absolutely it does. Now let's crank these other guitar parts here. Oh, that's so cool. I want to hear this with a little bit of vocals. It totally changes the vibe having those more intervals present. It's not as power chordy. I'm a mosquito, not a beater. Da, 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 da. Very, very cool. I'm a mosquito, not a beetle. Yeah. Hey. Huh. I could listen to that forever. All the different implications and like chord sounds that I never really heard before. Super cool. Distortion pedal kick in there. Calculated slop. This is a doubled guitar solo. And another lesson in keeping things simple. You know, this song came out on the very end, largely due to this band, of let's show everybody how good I can play and how fast I can play. And here Kurt is playing an accessible melody that mirrors in many ways the melody that's happening with the voice. This guitar is a voice, and we really got away from that. And in many ways, we've gotten away from that in modern music. The production and what we can do because we can largely goes ahead of the craft itself, of the rawness and the communication aspect, the emoting aspect. Now let's look at some key vocal passages in context. Like I said at the beginning, I've already done a complete isolated vocal analysis of this song, so be sure you check that out as well. These videos complement each other very nicely. As you're listening to this next passage, listen to the 3 different ways Kurt's vocals are presented. They're done in their single tracked, dead center. They are doubled, panned out with slightly different approaches on each side. It's a floppy double. And then when we get into the chorus, it is dead center doubled. So we go from wide, well, actually we go from single vocal to wide to here. And what this does in conjunction with the guitars is fill out different mix holes. Super cool. You'll notice it. I'll play it solo, but I'll also play it with the isolated guitar.
Self-assured, I know, a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello.
And you can hear him getting brighter right there, and they did some things with the EQ too, but he's getting more intense with as the guitar just keeps going.
Hello, 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 hello. With the lights out, it's a stained dress. Here we are now, entertain us.
Now it's dead center. We went from wide to center. So key.
I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm a lotto, I'm a albino, I'm a mosquito, my libido, yeah. Hey,
back to single.
Hey, yay.
Single, lots of cool reverb on there. And this is fun right here. Gotta play this. Just left in. One more time. Like that's in the final mix. We just don't really hear it. Kurt Cobain in the zone. So awesome. Now I'm going to play that same passage again with all the guitars, but without the bass and drums. And I want you to pay attention, if you're listening to headphones, which I hope you are, I want you to pay attention to how the vocal placement and the guitar placements complement each other.
She's overworn and self-assured. I know, a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello.
Do you notice that when we get to the hello, when we get to that part, that the mix fills out and we lack a strong center presence? So we're creating contrast here. We have the single center vocalist with the stereo guitar.
She's overworn and
but the stereo guitar is super simple here. So we have this sort of triangle built with Kurt's vocal at the center, and then we have wide vocal and wide guitar. The guitar is still super simple, and we lose the stereo image. It almost makes us as listeners, we're like, I'm not fulfilled. There's something slightly wrong with this picture. There's tension, which is in the arrangement and writing, but it's also there in the production. And then we finally get that aggressive center image back in the chorus, while the guitars go super wide, even wider than they are here, and we're fulfilled. So this arrangement is like pulling us along, leaving us discontented, and following the writing perfectly to create moments of I don't know, something's, and then, oh, that's what we wanted. So much of this is in the production.
Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's a dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers.
And listen to those dissonances. I never would have heard that.
I'm a mosquito, not a beetle. Yeah,
With that melody over it, da 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 da.
not a beetle. Yeah. Hey.
Super ugly and pretty at the same time. So these three approaches, the single center, the wide out double, and the center double, interplay with the guitars perfectly to string us along as a listener and complement the writing in amazing ways. This is when you know production is working in your favor instead of getting in your way. When these things that are so subtle that we don't think about at all when we're listening to the normal mix, these things play into how this song is internalized and remembered. Thanks so much for listening and diving in like a nerd into this song. One of my favorite songs ever, as I'm sure that's true for a lot of you. Again, if you'd like more help with your own singing, click that link below and join my free course. We'll see you for more.